On. Well, good evening, everybody. My name is Jonathan Jones. I'll be your host and moderator for the afternoon, and I deem it a privilege to be able to have a program like this where we share information with you every Sunday at 4 o'clock, and we applaud you for taking time out of your busy schedules to come to hear information that could be of value to you as you make decisions about your health and well-being. One of the products that we often talk about and always include in our discussion is MicroDaily. MicroDaily is the best nutritional supplement in the world. My history goes back about 35 years or so in doing research on nutrition. It had to do with the fact that my mother had diabetes and my wife's father had diabetes, and neither one of us wanted to get it. So we decided that we needed to start taking a look at how we could avoid coming down with it. And that led us down the path of doing research on health and nutrition. It became a complete career change for me. So I took it that seriously. So anyway, after all of those years of research, I've drawn the conclusion that this MicroDaily represents not the only way to stay healthy, but the most cost-effective way for the most powerful supplement that I have ever found. So it's a wise decision no matter what you decide to do, no matter what choices you make. It's even as far as the coronavirus is concerned. It doesn't matter what your choices are as far as vaccines or otherwise. This needs to be part of your arsenal. And you're going to see why today, because today we have with us Dr. Kedar Prasad, the formulator, the inventor of the product that we now have known as MicroDaily. Originally, it was called Military Micronutrient Formula, but now it's called MicroDaily. And the company Engage Global has the sole right of distributorship for the product worldwide. So we'd like to introduce to you now Dr. Prasad. I wonder if we can spotlight Dr. Prasad so that we can just have a little conversation with him about this amazing invention that he's put together. There we go. Welcome, Dr. Prasad, and thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us.
Thank you, Jonathan, for inviting me.
Yeah, we would invite you every day if we had the option to do it. So watch out. We'll keep coming back. For the sake of our audience, I have to tell them a little bit about what we have in print, what Engage Global has in print about you. It says that you're the professor of University of Colorado School of Medicine. That's where you were?
That's correct.
Former president, International Society of Cancer and Nutrition.
Yes.
Member of the British Royal Society of Medicine. Former member of the Nobel Peace Prize nominating committee for medicine. So that's a pretty good list of accolades there, Dr. Prasad.
Thank you.
And Dr. Prasad has published more than 26 books on the subject of nutrition and has been published more than 250 times in scientific peer review articles. That means that Dr. Prasad has figured out more than 250 things that his contemporaries never thought to put on paper. So that's pretty tall order there, Dr. Prasad.
Thank you.
Well, thank you again for taking time out of your schedule to join us. So what I wanted to do, Dr. Prasad, was take the time that we have today to talk about one of your published documents. And I'm going to put it on the screen here, so because most of our audience is aware of this document. Well, not most, and quite a few of them that are already either health advocates or preferred customers for Engage Global. So you wrote this paper and it was picked up by a medical publishing company. Is that correct?
Yes.
Supplementation with a mixture of micronutrients may improve ability of the immune system to fight COVID-19 infection. So the focus of this was showing the value of why a micronutrient could be of benefit during this pandemic.
Yes.
Okay.
Could be one of the tools.
It could be one of the tools. Very good. So we've shared this with folks in our group before, but a lot of it has a lot of science that is a little bit challenging for most of us as laymen to understand. So I put it in a Word document and kind of sliced it up a little bit. Can we just kind of walk through it a little bit, maybe help our audience to understand what exactly you put on paper here?
Sure.
Okay, so if everybody can see my screen now, this is the beginning of Dr. Prasad's paper. So here's what you wrote. You mentioned that an impaired immune function may increase the risk of infection of pathogenic microbes. And then one of the reasons for it, no, let's just start right there. So an impaired immune function. So if a person's immune system is not working properly, it opens them up for
All kind of infections, virus, bacteria, and you name it. And your immune system is compromised, then you can get sick with the flu virus. There are many kind of viruses. The most recent one is the corona, COVID-19, and now they have another variant, Delta variant. So all these variants represent, say, pathogenic microbes. And if your immune system is poor, they will attack your, and as you know, this preferred site of attack is the lung and intestine, because they are very rich in the receptor that they bind to enter into the cell, is called angiotensin converting enzyme 2 or ACE2 receptors.
okay.
And whenever these receptors, these receptors are all over the body, but especially in a lung tissue and in the intestine, they are very, very rich. And that's why these are the two favorite sites of COVID-19, and as well as the Delta variant to attack these two sites, and people get sick.
Okay, got it. So that's why you say here at the end of that paragraph, one of the reasons for this COVID-19's highly ineffective nature is that infective nature is that it has a binding affinity for the ACE2 receptors.
Right.
Okay, so let me just show a picture of these ACE2 receptors, because quite frankly, I didn't understand what ACE2 receptors were until I took a closer look at it myself.
Yeah.
So here's a picture that's blowing up, showing a cross section of the epithelium in the nasal cavity.
Right.
So the little green thing there is the ACE2 receptor.
Right.
And so the spike proteins that's on the virus, the coronavirus, can latch onto that receptor. It fits like a hand in glove.
Right.
Okay.
And then they enter into the cell.
All right, so it locks onto it right there and can enter into the cells right there in the nasal cavities.
Yes.
You mentioned the lung also, so we're going to get to that in a minute. But here's a picture of the lung, and this is the alveolus in the lung. So all throughout the alveolus, that's where the the gas exchange takes place. There's ACE2 receptors right there as well.
Yes.
So that's what causes the breathing problems.
Exactly.
Okay, so let me go back to the document. We'll come back to this in just a second, but that at least illustrates where these ACE2 receptors are and exactly what it is that you're referring to. So you mentioned here that asymptomatic individuals have a low viral load in their nasal cavity, but symptomatic individuals show infection in the lungs. So that's what we were just looking at in the picture.
Exactly.
So a person can have it all in their nostril area, and they can be breathing it in and out. Is that the reason why the mask is so important?
Exactly. That's why mask is so important, not only against this virus, but against any kind of infective agents, which is transmittable from one individual to another. Even the flu, if you use a mask, you will not get flu. I mean, they're also caused by viruses. So a mask is very important for varieties of reasons and for varieties of harmful microbes, bacteria, viruses, and so on.
So the mask has a twofold function. If we're carrying the virus and we're asymptomatic, we're not spreading it to somebody else. And someone else who may be carrying it that's asymptomatic is not giving it to us.
Yeah, they are. Because if you are in contact with them, they look like okay, but they are carrying a viruses. And if you don't have a mask, you will get the infection.
We're spreading it all around. Yep.
Yeah,
So by the time a person is starting to show symptoms, that's an indication that the virus has made it down into the ACE2 receptors in the lungs.
exactly, exactly.
I saw it shows some ACE2 receptors in the intestine also.
Yes.
So is that the reason why sometimes symptoms can include gastrointestinal problems?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So nausea, diarrhea, and all kinds of other issues.
Yeah. Some people do.
Now you mentioned here that after it binds to the ACE2 receptors, the cell actually pulls the virus in.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't know it's a virus. It just pulls it in.
Puts it in, and once they go inside, it sends the message to immune system that there are some foreign substances, and then they send various types of cells to kill the viruses. If your immune system is good, then the virus will be killed. And if they are not, then virus will multiply more and more and more and more, and then eventually you will die.
I see. So right here then, Dr. Prasad, you said once it goes into the cell, this cytokine is the signal that gets sent out by the cells?
Yeah, they produce cytokines, and the cytokines send the signal to immune system that there are foreign substance in your body, and you have to do something about it. So they send neutrophils, various types of cells, and antibodies to all these jointly try to kill the viruses.
Gotcha. Okay, so let's talk about some of those parts of the immune system that get sent out. But as you mentioned right here, if the immune system is strong, individuals may fully cover with or without supportive care. If the immune system response is weak, the symptoms of acute respiratory distress system may become severe and in some cases may progress to death.
Yes.
So that's how serious this coronavirus is.
Yeah.
And it also shows how important it is to have a strong immune response. So this is powerful in Dr. Prasad. So can we go on down to the rest of your document? That was the abstract that introduced the whole thing, right?
Sure.
Now, in your introduction to your paper, you give a little bit of the history of the virus. Wuhan, China.
Yeah.
2020, February the 11th, the World Health Organization named it coronavirus 19.
Yes.
And that's just because it was in the year 2019 is when it was first identified. That's why they call it 19.
Yes.
Rates of infection and mortality are higher in older individuals and those with pre-existing disease than young individuals and those with pre-existing conditions.
At that time, that was very true. But now, as you know, Jonathan, that with Delta variant, there is no specificity. They are old and young, both are getting infected and going to the hospital.
Everyone is being affected by it.
Yes, irrespective of age.
That's it. And then now it says here that an impaired immune function causes high levels of oxidative stress and inflammation. So that's the reason why those pre-existing conditions can be a problem.
Right. And most of the older people have a poor immune system. I mean, this is well known. And that's why in the beginning, they were the major target of infection. But sometimes variant becomes so infectious, then it overtakes your immune system. And that's why additional approach has to be taken.
Right. And that's the reason why they've developed vaccines to help people to have that additional support.
Yes.
So here you say, improving immune function remains the best option for eliminating infection. And this, of course, was at the time when there was only this face mask and social distancing. Those are the only options that were available at the time.
There was no variant. At that time when I wrote it, there was no very highly infectious variant.
Yeah.
So at that time, that statement was that this is one of the best way of protecting yourself against by improving your immune system.
Right.
And one way of improving immune system is micronutrient that we have developed, microdaily or and so on.
Very good. Very good. So here in this next section, then, Dr. Prasad, you mentioned that the majority of those who are infected exhibit these symptoms right here, some of which we just mentioned a minute ago: dry cough, high fever, myalgia, which is muscle pain, fatigue, dysphonia, headache, vomiting, and diarrhea.
Mhm.
I've had some people say that that those are symptoms or things that they were experiencing long before 2019.
Yeah. Some of those are also observed in certain other disease that is nothing to do with viruses,
Right. Okay. And because some of this you can feel with the flu. So that's why people could
Yeah.
get confused and think that they've only got the flu.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay. So the death rate is pretty high. You mentioned that as well. We
Yeah.
talked quite a bit here about this ACE2 receptors, and there's a high population of them in the alveoli and small intestine. So that's the reason why those symptoms. So let me just try to get this clear then, Dr. Prasad. The reason a person starts to show symptoms is because of the number of cells that have pulled in the virus and the virus
Yes.
replicates?
Yes. The more number of cells get infected, the more viruses per cell, and the more severe symptom you will have, because they start killing the lung cells.
It's killing
And
cells.
Therefore, you have a difficulty in breathing because you have fewer lung cells, and it becomes very, again, terrible. And then
Right.
more viruses are there. There are more cytokines, and then so-called cytokine storms. Then it's difficult to recover.
That's right. That's what you mentioned right here. You said following fusion with the host cell membrane, the virus is taken inside the cells by endocytosis and starts replicating using the
Yes.
host cell synthetic machinery.
Yes.
So it's like it's using your body against you.
Yeah, I mean, once they enter into the cell, they don't have their own machinery to make the new viruses. They have to get into the cell. Then they use the cells transfer RNA, various method that the cell exists. They use their machinery system to make a protein for viruses, and then the whole viruses is packaged. So without cell, they cannot replicate.
That's amazing. So that's the
They have
reason
to be
why.
there. And that's why they get a chance to become a different kind of variants because of the mutation.
Right. Gotcha. So really our best defense is to make sure that we don't get it at all.
Yes, exactly.
Stay away from it.
That's the best thing, not to get it all. And not only that, Jonathan, but even if some people who survives COVID-19, they develop all kind of later effects, neurologically, respiratory index, because the lung cell get a scar tissue. And so survivor becomes almost like a chronic disease.
That's right.
And that has to be taken care of. And so it is, like you said, it is best not to get it.
They refer to those people as long haulers. And we're dealing with a couple of clients right now that are long haulers, and the symptoms are just pervasive.
Yes.
Now, you go on to talk about the innate and the adaptive immune response to infection.
Yes.
So you say here that the cells infected with the COVID-19 release cytokines. So that's what we saw in the picture there. So it sends out this signal that tells the immune system, get busy.
Innate immunity response, like neutrophil, you have mentioned there, monocyte and various cell type, to send them to kill it. Natural killer cell is another one. They all work in coordination, and to kill, their main function is to kill by different method. the viruses.
So each one of these, so the neutrophils, you say here, engulf pathogens.
That's
So
right.
that means eats it whole,
Yes, they just engulf it and digest it.
engulf it and digest it. That's pretty good. I think I like neutrophils.
Yeah, yeah.
And then a monocyte. The monocyte here does something similar. It says,
Yeah, they help to adaptive immunity that you will see later on to become more efficient. And a natural killer cell directly kills the cells. It can natural killer. Any foreign cells would be there, they will be killed by natural killer cell. And of course, virus becomes the foreign substance. And adaptive immunity response is the response that the lymphocytes produces a specific antibody to kill the virus.
ah, okay.
So when you get a vaccine of any kind, whether it's a flu vaccine or COVID vaccine, they are the one who produce. So they initiate the production of a specific
antibody.
virus to produce antibody to kill it.
I see.
For example, vaccine would not stimulate the innate immunity like natural killer cells or anything else like neutrophils. The function of any kind of vaccine against any kind of viruses is to produce a specific antibody so that they can get killed efficiently and selectively.
I see. So really then, this part of the immune system, these lymphocytes and these T lymphocytes, is critical to the immune system being wise and identifying exactly what needs to be attacked.
Yeah, for example, if your immune system is poor and you get a vaccine of any kind, they may not produce enough antibody, or they produce maybe some antibody. But if your immune function is very good, by virtue of taking micronutrient and things like that, and if you take a vaccine from any kind, then the lymphocyte will produce much more antibody and therefore much more effective in killing the foreign microbes or viruses or bacteria.
That specific virus.
That's very specific. Yes.
Gotcha. Very good. Very good. So I'm starting to like these lymphocytes and T lymphocytes.
Keeping the immune system is so important, not only just to prevent the general infection, but even the person who decides to get vaccine against flu or any kind of COVID or any kind of vaccine, your immune system will be very good responsive.
Very good.
If somebody has like a cancer patient or somebody has a poor immune system, and you get a vaccine of any kind, your system may not be as responsive. Your lymphocyte may not be as responsive to produce very good antibody against that particular viruses. That's why it is so important to keep your immune function well, optimal level, so that you are not only protected if the viral load is small of any kind of viruses, but also that in case you decide to have a flu vaccine or any kind of vaccine.
Then you have to have a strong immune.
Yeah, then you will produce a strong, high amount of antibody to kill the virus.
That's it. Okay. All right. That makes perfect sense. What's the problem here with this cytokine storm?
Yeah, because see, if your immune system is poor and the virus is not getting killed, then they will ask the cell to produce more cytokines, because then they can live on happily, and the more they will divide it, and so then they become so much cytokines are produced, and cytokine is so toxic that it can cause organ failure, kidney failure, heart failure, any places.
Whoa!
It's so dangerous.
Whoa! So Dr. Prasad, you're telling me that if my alarm system in my body, my cells is trying to tell my immune system to do something, And because my alarm system is going off so loud and so long, my alarm system
Yeah.
is what could kill me?
Yeah, you might become deaf. Yeah.
My
Yeah.
alarm system kills me.
Yeah. In the
Wow.
beginning, it was very useful. But once it becomes too many, then the immune system doesn't even recognize anymore that I am getting any signal, because it becomes so overwhelming, toxic to the system that everything falls apart.
Okay, see, so that's brand new information for me, Dr. Prasad. I didn't quite get that before. So
Mhm.
looking at this picture here, it's pointing to what's called cytokines here. That's the cells sending word back to the immune system to send help. And
Yes.
if help never comes and the
Yes.
alarm, we keep sending out cytokines, the cytokine itself becomes a problem.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And also that, it becomes a terrible cytokines storm, which happens, it is difficult to come back, recover.
That's sobering, Dr. Prasad. I read an article in National Geographic that said that what killed the people with the Spanish influenza was cytokine storm.
Storm, yeah. Because but by that time it becomes too late for the immune system to do anything. It overtakes everything.
That's chilling, Dr. Prasad. That's chilling.
It is. That's why it is important not to get one.
Yeah, don't get cytokine storm. And the best way to not get cytokine storm is to make sure that you got a strong immune system.
A very strong immune system. So in the beginning, you just kill the cells, and immune system is very good. It will prevent, even it will respond to any kind of treatment that you are getting, whether it's a monoclonal antibody or people have, used all kind of a drug,
Yeah.
antiviral drug, and so they all respond better if your immune system is good.
So everything works better if the immune system is strong.
Exactly.
There's no downside to having a strong immune system.
There is no downside.
That's pretty powerful, Dr. Prasad. Okay, so now give us a little bit here about how to improve immune function with micronutrients. You say here that that micronutrients are important. No one single antioxidant is the solution, but the combination of them is the answer.
Right, because even single deficiency of even single micronutrient will impair your immune function. And therefore, it is important to have a optimal functioning immune system by having a mixture of a antioxidant or micronutrient like we have in a microdaily. Because if you use a single, say vitamin A or vitamin E, and you give a high dose of this single micronutrient to a patient, or who has a high oxidative environment, like a smoker, for example, or
Right.
even people like who are infected with COVID-19, they have very high level of oxidative
Stress.
environment. In that situation, the single vitamin E will get converted to a free radicals.
Oh, wow.
Because what happens, they will donate the electron to other guy who needs it, and then become themselves as an oxidized or free radical material. So instead of acting as an antioxidant, vitamin A, C, or E, or beta carotene
becomes an oxidant.
act as a pro-oxidant or as a free radicals.
Oh my goodness. So once again, you're educating me here, Dr. Prasad, and I'm pretty sure that others are getting this too. So if I was just to take a bunch of vitamin C, say for example, or just one or two of these, if I have high amounts of it, at a certain point, it's not doing me any good. It starts doing me harm.
It could, yeah, exactly. Because, especially older people who has a high or sick, or we have a chronic diseases, which increases oxidative stress, which in most cases it does. And then in that environment, a high dose of single antioxidant of any kind will be harmful because it will get oxidized. But if you give in a multiple antioxidant, then they prevent the oxidation of each other.
Wonderful.
So it never happens.
That's wonderful. So what we're looking at right now is a list of the formula that you spent decades putting together
Yes,
to make sure it's the right combination and the right
right,
formula for optimal immune response.
exactly.
We hear a lot about selenium. Shouldn't we be getting selenium from our food?
At selenium, you can get about 100 micrograms generally from food. And this is very important. And we have added another 100 to make sure, because sometimes people don't eat right kind of food. So just to make insurance, we have put another 100 microgram of selenium, because selenium is extremely important. At the same time, the safety window for selenium is very narrow. For example, 200 microgram is totally safe. But if you just double the amount, like 400 microgram, some people might take more without knowing the toxicity. Then it can increase the risk of skin disease, also cataract formation. And therefore we said, keep everything safe. That was my first goal. That dosage I selected is safe. At that time, we did not know it is going to be effective, but now we know with the trial, clinical study, or animal study that we did with the Department of Defense, we know it is also very safe and as well as effective.
Very good, very good. We're at the section now in your paper where you talk about the limitations of using single antioxidants. We just talked about that, so you just covered that. And that had gone completely over my head when I read this. I just didn't get that before. So thank you for making that clear. Now, down here, this next section, proposed mixture of micronutrients for improving immune function. That's what you just broke down for us. We just looked at the list of all of these items, and these will work very, very nicely, specifically even with a virus like the COVID-19. They promote proper immune response.
Yeah. I mean, for example, we ran a human study in Montevideo in Uruguay, and we gave this micro daily to a young people, volunteer, anywhere from age 18 to 35 years of age. And as you know, they are all in South America. They smoke cigarette like chimney. And so they were all a smoker, and we can modify the behavior. So we gave them the micro daily for 6 months, and it gradually improved the immune function, and gradually they decreases the oxidative stress damage in those people who were taking micro daily. So
And they
that
were
was
smokers.
that was the evidence that micro daily can also improve immune function in human directly. Animal study, a lot of study have shown that they improve immune function. But with our specific product, that was the first demonstration many years ago when I was professor at the University of Colorado. And so not only we have immune function, but we also have our formulation that it decreases free radical damage, it decreases inflammation. And as we said, we have demonstrated this in especially the traumatic brain injury, for example. Do you know that study,
Yes.
Jonathan, with veteran that we ran? But anyway, it is so in all criteria, it is not only micro daily will improve immune function, but also it has impact on many other diseases wherever oxidative stress and inflammations are involved, which is the case for most diseases, dementia, Alzheimer, you name a human chronic diseases, and increased oxidative stress, inflammation are involved.
That's amazing. So I just got a little story about my shoulder, my left shoulder, my left knee, because I've been taking micro daily now for a few years. But this past year, I started getting pain in my left shoulder and in my left knee. I doubled my doses, and it all went away.
Yeah, I think this could be cyst could be something just non-cancerous growth, and I will give you an example that this is an anecdotal story, but this is true. One of my postdoctoral fellow had a suddenly start increasing the nose, some growth. And he went to the doctor and he said, yeah, come next week, I will do a surgery to remove it. And so he came to me and he said, what shall I do? I have to have a surgery. I said, well, whatever doctor says. Then I said, why don't you just try, multiple vitamin with vitamin E-succinate. At that time, I discovered that. And he said, okay. So he went there, buy some kind of multiple vitamin, and separately he bought vitamin E-succinate because in multiple vitamin in those days, there was no succinate. And so, and then after a week before he goes to the doctor, his growth was already gone. Not normal. And so doctor said, you don't need a surgery. So what you observe is that the sometimes high dose antioxidant reduces the growth of any abnormal cell, any place.
Okay, and so if I was experiencing inflammation, bursitis, or arthritis of some kind, all that inflammation went down, and even if there was abnormal cells starting to develop, they could have gone away because I increased my dosage.
That's true. And also that, under certain condition, it may not be not for that particular condition, but somebody has a some fatigue or anxiety or depression type of things. For their micro daily together with CBD, that as you know we have is a powerful. Many customers have reported how well they do it, how well they sleep it. They don't have anxiety, they don't have depression. So there it could be very useful as well. So it is an overall health issue, and many people have different kind of health conditions, but especially those kind of under situation, chronic situation that people have tried everything and it is not working, then it is worthwhile trying CBD, which is safe. It is a legal. And it has no psychoactivity, like it has no
THC
hallucination type of effect at all, like they have with THC or marijuana plant.
Right. Yep. No, it's powerful, and I love it. And I was surprised to find that every cell in the body has CBD receptors. So the body
CBD,
wants it.
That's very interesting. That CBD is the only agent that in our body we have a what you call a natural ligand, which has stimulate the cannabinoid receptor R1 and R2, and there are some synthetic inhibitor of this. There is an enzyme which will degrade a cannabinoid called anandamide, means pleasure, and it has been used in Indian subcontinent for ages. But anyway, CBD, what it does, it inhibits the enzyme which degrades anandamide. And then if you increase the anandamide, they will stimulate both the endocannabinoid receptors, and then you have all kind of good effect. And so I think CBD is the only physiologically non-toxic agent which can increase the level of anandamide, which is a very, any agent which will increase this particular molecule in your body, you will feel happy because it also turned on dopamine receptors and, serotonin receptors and so on. So it is CBD is a very, very interesting compound. And I myself take it.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm 86-year-old. And therefore, I'm still functioning mentally, physically. And so I think those people who have this kind of issues may like to consider it.
That's right. Add CBD. I take 1 or 2 of them at night, and I definitely sleep better. And so it's a great addition to the arsenal that Engage Global has produced. So thank you for bringing that in. Now we get down to the conclusion of your paper here, Dr. Prasad. You say that Highly infectious COVID-19, which causes acute respiratory distress syndrome, has created a pandemic worldwide. Older people, individuals with pre-existing diseases are very vulnerable to COVID-19 infection and death. And now we have a footnote that we can add to that now that says that because of the variants, no one is
Safe.
immune from
Right.
this. No one's
Exactly.
exempt.
Yes.
So this is a serious issue.
Very
So
serious issue.
this virus is highly infectious because of very high binding affinity of spike protein COVID-19 with the host's ACE2 receptors compared with other coronaviruses. Following binding and fusion with the host cell, the virus is engulfed inside the cells and begins replicating using the host cell synthetic machinery. The virus-infected cell releases cytokines, and now you've just helped us to see that cytokines by itself will kill you.
Yes.
So it turns your body against you and can kill you if your immune system is not strong enough to respond to it. Which signals the immune system to send immune cells to the site of infection for eliminating the virus and facilitating the healing of injured tissue. Most individuals recover from the infection, but about 5 to 6% may die despite supportive treatment. Recommended guidelines are effective in preventing infection. Is the number really only 5 to 6% that die?
What?
Is the number only 5 to 6% that die from, say, COVID-19 without
No,
support?
I think the number is much more now, into this old literature.
Okay.
And so, as you know, 600 people, 1,000 people have died of infection, unfortunately.
Yep. It's been
and more are dying. I mean, variant has created a new problem.
Yep.
And it is not going away. And you should know that, probably you know that, the 95% of people who are getting infected with Delta variant, are unvaccinated people.
That's right.
And that means their immune system is poor. They're not vaccinated. Of course, they will get it.
That's right. Well, if we could just flood the planet with knowledge about what
and
to
it
do,
is so
it would help.
infectious, unfortunate. And a simple procedure can prevent it.
That's right.
Even mask, if you forget about anything else, just put on a mask.
Just put a mask on and it would change everything. Well, for those who are close to us and those who are within reach to us, we're recommending that no matter what they do, that they add microdaily to their diet. Because just like you say here in your very last paragraph, these guidelines are ineffective for those who test positive for COVID-19 infection. Here we go. Improving immune function remains one of the best options for them eliminating the infection. Increased oxidative stress and inflammation contribute to impaired immune function, and individual micronutrient improves immune function somewhat in experimental models.
Yes.
And you wrap it up by saying that a mixture of micronutrients may be more effective than a single micronutrient in improving immune function. So really, this is what you just told us, that the combination is the best way to make sure that you have a healthy immune response. That's wonderful.
Yeah, it is very important to have a powerful immune system.
Dr. Prasad, this is a brilliant piece of literature that you've provided for us.
It is now old literature, old paper anymore.
It's old.
Cover the variant, which was totally unexpected. We first thought that children are not very affected because they have a better immune system, but I guess many children don't have a good immune system.
That's right.
And this variant Delta is so infectious that they don't spare anybody.
No one's being spared by it. So Dr. Prasad, as we talk about children and the new product that was released by Engage Global, can you tell us a little bit about how the gummy can be useful for children? Yeah,
because the principle of the children's gummy formula is the same as the microdaily. And it is in the same ingredient, but much lower dose, appropriate for children. And so it will also stimulate your immune function, children's. Many children's don't have a good diet, and therefore they could have the same problem like adult. And therefore, the statistics was that there are millions of children in this country who have a deficiency of one or more nutrient. And therefore, the product that we have developed is a good one to provide sufficient amount of micronutrient to improve function. The commercial product which are available, bestseller product, and we examine those things. In those products, even the recommended daily allowance dose is not there. They are very suboptimal dose. They might taste same or less better than what we have, but amount of micronutrient is suboptimal. And they don't have anything at all like the antioxidant that our body makes it. None of them had it. They have only those like vitamin A, C, E, and D, and that's it. Even B vitamin, they have one or two B vitamin, but we have several B vitamin. So all the commercial product that I examined, they were lacking a best formula. They are harmless, they are not toxic, but
Right.
they're not going to do any good.
They're not going to do any good.
I mean, maybe a little bit good, but not very much. And that's why we said, okay, we eliminate those things. And we, again, principle is same as micro daily. On that basis, we develop this. But as a curiosity, we examined what is the bestseller children's gummy formula is. And I was surprised to find out they were so inadequate that I really was amazed.
Well, it doesn't surprise me at all. So given the fact that right now, from ages birth to what, age 11, there is no vaccine, there is no treatment
Not
for
right now, no.
COVID-19 for kids.
No.
Based on what we just covered in your paper, would it make sense then for parents to consider at the very least giving their children micro daily every day?
Definitely. And this way, at least they have one defense mechanism, namely your good immune function. And so I would strongly suggest to give the children this vitamin to improve their immune function until such time that the vaccine becomes available.
Yeah, I think
this period is very, very important, Jonathan. I'm glad you brought up, because during this period, there is a rapid physical and mental, emotional growth
right,
that will have impact on their behavior when they become adult.
right.
And therefore, to have a not only good immune system, but a proper growth, both physical and mental. Also for that purpose, in addition to immune function, for that purpose, it is extremely important to have children a good micronutrient formulation during this time. Because although they are exposed to the same toxin environmental like EMF radiation, toxic chemicals and water and so on, like adults, but adult doesn't have to worry about the growth, physical and mental growth. But children, there is an additional reason why children should have an adequate micronutrient, because during physical growth, you require more nutrient than you will require otherwise.
That's right. That's right. And they're not getting it. There's just insufficient nutrients in the food.
Yeah. So physical and mental growth, this is very, very important in addition to building your immune function.
I'm waiting for my supply of the gummies to come, and I'm afraid that I may not. Yeah, I may not get them out to the kids because the ones that I tasted so good. I may just start doing them myself instead of what I take.
I started my granddaughter yesterday. I just got yesterday.
One gummy twice a day? Is that the dosage?
No, it depends upon the age. Between 6 to 12 is a 2 in the morning, 2 in the evening.
Okay, so 6 to 12, they can do 2 and 2.
And less than that is 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening.
Okay, that's good to know. That's clarity for me. I'm sure Jeff would make sure that I get that information straight. So Dr. Prasad, I can't thank you enough for taking out the time to bring us this information with such clarity. We have Jeff Ashby here with us also.
Yeah, he can tell you about the all the pricing and.
I think that would be good. I think I'd like to just try to pull Jeff in here to see if we can't get him to go ahead and just sort of break down for us the pricing, because we don't want to drag Dr. Prasad into that.
Well, but you know, Dr. Prasad, if it wasn't for Dr. Prasad, we wouldn't have this. And
I'd like to hear it.
during your discussion,
How come you got a bottle and I don't have a bottle?
Yeah.
I know the doctor and I know the owner, but yeah, it's just a matter of I got my money in as fast as I could, because while you've been talking about it, I've been eating. I've had 4, which is an adult dose twice a day. If you're going to be doing these, this is actually neener, the 3rd bottle that we have been through in the last as many weeks. So Helen and I between sharing it with others and taking it ourselves, we're through 3 bottles. So 120 gummies times 3. Yeah, you're going to want to do it. It's such a great, and what you and Dr. Prasad detailed today, the critical importance of getting the right combination, quantity, and form of the micronutrients into our systems is so critical. And I know that there's many parents and grandparents on this call that they would do anything for their children or their grandchildren. And that's why with 32 grandchildren, you know how many bottles of these we've ordered.
Yes, I do. My sister just yesterday called me, and her grandchildren are over at the house, and they're worried. She's just completely worried about sending them back to school because, you know, there's no options for protecting them.
Yeah.
You know, and in some states you're allowed to put on, they're being mandated to wear masks. In some states they're not. So
They don't,
everyone is worried about what to do right now. So I said, listen, there's gummies coming. She said, what? I mean, my sister said, what? Gummies? So she can't wait to get hers.
I'll share this with you. So this is the same thing in a shareable pack. So inside this box, there's still 120 gummies. But look at this, Jonathan. They're all packaged in a dose of 4. And it has all of the panel, all of the micronutrients there on the back of it. And so you could actually send one of these packets with your school-age child.
Yep.
And the teacher is going to be comfortable with what they're consuming during class.
Wonderful.
Because it's all listed there. And so this is an amazing way of getting it. This is $59.99. So you're talking what, $2 a day?
Yep.
For this. This is a little bit more because of the packaging. So you're going to add $15 to it. But it is such an incredible way of just stuffing this in their backpack, in their pocket, in their purse. You know, this can go to school with all the kids. It's sealed, so you can tear it open, but then there's also, you can see the little zip closure here as well.
Reseal it.
So you can reseal it if you want. Another exciting thing about it is it's made with fruit pectin. And so it doesn't matter if it gets warm, they're not going to stick to each other. Just amazing. So yes, get back with the individual who invited you on this call and ask about the kids right there. Kids formulation. This is everything that we had hoped it would be and more. So
that's wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you very much. So Jeff, if there's folks on the line now on our meeting that want to get the adult packages, the adult formula of Dr. Prasad's invention here, what are the options for getting that?
I'll just share my screen here, Jonathan. And here we have it. This is right from our website. This is the product pricing sheet. You can see MicroDaily EMF, which is our flagship product, is $69.99 from a preferred customer. That's if you have your credit card on file, or for a health advocate, somebody who wants to share it, the retail is $93. We just talked about the gummies right here. Would you rather pay $60 or $80? or the entry level. This is the original formula that Dr. Prasad created for the military. The least expensive way of getting the micro daily formulation into your body is $50, $49.99. And truly, it's a matter of just getting back with the individual who invited you on this call, asking them for their link so that you can purchase it, not at retail, but at wholesale. So
Very good. Excellent.
hopefully, Jonathan, you bet.
Excellent. That covered it. So thank you again. I appreciate what you added to the call too, Jeff, and thank you very much for making the arrangements for Dr. Prasad to be here. Dr. Prasad, we really cannot thank you enough
Thank you.
for the brilliance and the gift that you've given, not just to us, but to humanity. And so our goal is to share this and get this out there so that people have an option to be able to make their health better in a very simple way. So thank you very much again.
It's this simple. Jonathan, it's just like this. Put it in.
See, I'm starting to hate you now.
And see what else.
Yeah. See,
It's amazing.
yeah, I'm starting to hate you now. That's all that is. That's it. So anyway, this is going to bring our call to an end. And listen, everyone, before we disconnect the call, please keep in mind that information that you hear on meetings like this is for educational purposes only. This is not to be considered a substitute for a visit to your primary healthcare physician. We strongly, strongly, strongly recommend that you seek the competent medical advice of professionals that you trust. Add this information to your library of information. Testimonials that you hear are purely anecdotal. So you don't know the clinical circumstances surrounding what happens to someone, but we can tell you without a doubt that Dr. Prasad is a world-renowned scientist, and his information is impeccable, and the work that he's done is without challenge whatsoever. He's been published by peer review articles all around the world and well recognized for what he's done. So thank you again, Dr. Prasad. Thank you very much, Jeff Ashbury. And everyone, we'll see you next week. Come back with us again. Invite everyone that you care about to our call next week. This recording will be available on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Jonathan Jones. youtube.com/Jonathan Jones. This one I will publish tomorrow at the latest for you, okay? All right, everybody. Y'all have a good night. Thank you, Dr. Prasad.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you, Dr. Prasad. Thank
Awesome
you,
job. Way to go.
Jonathan.
Thank you very much.
Brother
Great
Jeff.
information.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good job.
Good information.
Thank
Thank
you.
all
Thank
of
you,
you.
everybody. Especially Dr. Prasad. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Prasad. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye.
Excellent.
Yeah. Have a good day. Stay safe.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Lois. Hey, Peggy. Glad you